Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is wondering why his phone is not ringing like it once did. It must be incredibly upsetting for a narcissist when they were the leader of one of the world's most popular wars, and now they can no longer get on the cover of Vogue or to the Oscars. What is going on, you guys?
Wait, so you gonna get the Golden Globe?
I'm the popular guy in the green shirt.
Remember
what the
me?
heck?
It's Halloween time. Everyone's going to be wearing their I wonder if actually for Halloween, a lot of people planned on wearing like Zelensky outfits for Halloween. Are they not going to be doing that this Halloween?
I think that was last year's Halloween costume.
Out of favor.
He's become Joe Biden at those parties. Remember when Barack Obama was there and Biden was just walking around aimlessly like...
Oh, that was so embarrassing, right? Like, who's that?
I don't remember that.
He's the president and he can't get anyone to talk with him. He's just like wandering around the room. It was so sad.
Well, what we're going to talk about is how far the Zelensky's star has fallen in just a week of not being the world's most popular war. Now, it's awful, right, that we need these sort of like wars du jour and the media attention is just so fleeting, like a Kardashian, but that's what we're going to talk about. Zelensky's trying to get into Israel for a solidarity tour, and just today Israel said, not a good time. Don't call us, we'll call you. What he wanted to do was get in there, do a little tour in his green shirt, and maybe show Benjamin Netanyahu how to be a media darling, the way that he has enjoyed this status for almost 2 years now. But that media darling status may be very fleeting. Fame is as fame does, I suppose. What's that from? Fame is a fickle thing, Harry. It's from...
Harry Potter?
Lockhart, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Harry Potter. Yeah.
Okay, he could take a lesson from Gilderoy Lockhart. That now, the counteroffensive has come and gone, and that can no longer rest on the star, the fame of Zelensky. Can maybe the Zelenskys hope for more Vogue covers like this that will help bring him back to the center of attention? Now, in response to him not being able to get the Western media's attention anymore, he's taken to desperate moves such as offering to visit Israel, offering to bomb Iran, offering to blame Russia for a conflict that does not have anything to do with Russia. What, as I was researching this reminds me of, and I had to bring a Friends clip because just this is on my mind, is the episode of Friends where they switch apartments and Monica can't stand it that no one's coming to hang out at her house because she's used to being the hostess. So what she does in a desperate move is bakes cookies and blows a fan on them. This is, to my mind, what Zelensky's doing. Watch.
I don't know, but it smells good.
Fresh cookies, hot from the oven. Ooh. Please have some.
Okay, so the fan cookie combination may just be what Zelensky needs to do. Clayton actually laughed at a Friends clip. He hates Friends.
Yeah.
But that's funny, right?
It's no Seinfeld, but that was good.
Okay, well, that
Can we back up just, sorry.
Yeah.
Can we back up just 1 second? Because you said he offered to bomb Iran.
He did.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. And Syria. He's like, hey, I'll bomb Iran and Syria. Using the weapons, the U.S. has already provided these weapons. I'll do that. I will bomb Iran and Syria. Can I do that? Can I do that?
That is like the wafting of the cookies. We're going to get to that. I'm going to remind you of that story in just a second. But yes, that is just one of many ways that he's trying to get the phone to ring again. Just last week, he had an address to European Parliament canceled. Take a look at this. They did not say why. They just said, can't hear from you right now. And he had to sort of rearrange his schedule in the week. Instead, he went to Romania, where he was called out by a senator for not protecting Romanians in Ukraine. Recall that Zelensky has put into place laws that forbid speaking Russian and other languages. Romanian is one of them. Senator Diana Sosuaca called to Zelensky to speak with her about this when he visited and posted this on her social media.
Mr. President, do you like to talk to a senator of Romania about Romanian minorities of Ukraine? Look, this is a map, real map of Romania. Please respect our Romanians in Ukraine. Please let them speak in Romanian. Respect us. Thank you.
Okay, so that wasn't awesome for his optics. And And while he was in Europe, he gave this interview to France too. He said this: there is a risk that international attention will turn away from Ukraine, and that will have consequences. Consequences for him, or consequences for the rest of us for turning against Ukraine. He didn't really say, but we can see that he is worried about the lack of attention. Then he offered to tour Israel in solidarity. Now, it's interesting how Axios here says that, look at this line, a visit by Zelensky would boost international support for Israel's counteroffensive against Hamas. Now, okay, that's not my interpretation, that Israel needs the Zelensky public relations boost due to, the star popularity of Zelensky. Do you think that?
No, I mean, Americans, 68% of Americans support Israel in this war. 68%.
Yeah, that's high.
They're not hurting. Think about President Biden's approval rating.
Right.
Certain cancers, certain viruses have a higher approval rating than President Biden does right now. So more Americans support Israel than they do President Biden. They don't need Zelensky to help
and
their support.
The last poll I saw about support for Ukraine was in the 50s. So Israel is already leaps and bounds, public relations speaking, ahead of Ukraine. They absolutely don't need a boost from Zelensky. And so what he tried to do next was blame Russia for the attack on Israel, trying to sort of turn the camera back to his war and say, we're the first ones fighting Russia. Would you like to blame Russia too? Because then that puts me back at center stage. They said that they believed that it was Russia who helped Hamas and is behind Hamas, to which the Israeli ambassador to Moscow, Alexander Ben-Zvi, rejected that as complete nonsense. And he said that his government does not in any way believe that Russia was involved. Even Israel didn't buy that. So Zelensky desperately needs this media attention because so far the counteroffensive is basically dead. Russia says that it considers Ukraine's counteroffensive over. This is the same counteroffensive that cost over 90,000 lives. Pretty much no one ever thought it would succeed to regain territory. So what were those deaths for? I ask you, what did Ukraine get for those 90,000 lives? Now, the counteroffensive we started tracking in early June, maybe late May. Here's the map on the left that we showed you of what the war looked like, that Ukraine wanted to have a counteroffensive to turn those red areas that voted to join Russia back into the white Ukraine. Here it's as it stands today. This map on the right looks exactly the same. No territory has been gained virtually, and 90,000 lives thrown at that. So Russian ambassador for the United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, said this to the Security Council on Friday. For several days now, Russian troops have switched to combat operations practically along the entire front line. Therefore, we can consider the so-called Ukrainian counteroffensive formally over. Close the books, put a stamp on it. It's done. We don't need to send more weapons from the West. Nebenzia says that they are not opposed to armed forces of Ukraine. So if Ukraine wants to keep military presence in that region, go ahead. They don't want to fight them. They're not going to leave. But Ukrainian military can be there. What they're opposed to is NATO, they say, and the criminal neo-Nazi regime of Zelensky, which may mean that Zelensky's days are numbered if he cannot regain his A-list celebrity status. This could very much be, as we talked with Mike Jones earlier today, the off-ramp that the West needs. Throw Zelensky under the bus and end the war in Ukraine so that they can ramp up another one in Israel. Or Zelensky can offer to combine the two, get involved. Now, this is the nightmare scenario, is that Zelensky does succeed, which there's no indication that he would, but could he succeed at entangling Ukraine into the Middle East? This is what he offered to do. Remember, we showed you this just back in September, that he offered to attack Iran and Syria in exchange for long-range weapons. What The Guardian reported was that Ukraine was saying that they could attack other countries that the West doesn't like, such as Iran and Syria, because they have intelligence about the missiles that are used in those countries, and that they alone can do things that other countries cannot do because of the weaponry that they know about because of their what they called superior intelligence.
So he's saying if we attack them, then you can send us long-range missiles, but wouldn't they need those long-range missiles first before they could attack them? Like, what are they going to...
What they're saying that they have superior intelligence about the components inside of those weapons. They didn't bother to use that superior intelligence against Russia, I suppose. It was selective. They're saying they can use it against these Middle Eastern countries if the West would like. They are willing to be sort of the thug, mob of the West.
How many countries do they want attacking them? I mean, I guess from a proxy standpoint, it makes sense because everybody's already freaking dead. But like seriously, so what they're going to start, like they can't handle the shit that they've already got, and they're trying to start more. That just blows my mind. The real question is the next phase of this, right? Which is to what you were just postulating there. This idea that, well, what happens next? Are we going to have a standing army of the Ukraine standing army, and they're just going to stop hitting the Donbass? They're going to stop hitting Luhansk. They're going to stop hitting Donetsk. They're going to just go back and stop doing what they've been doing since the 2014 Maidan coup and have been attacking in a genocide the eastern part of what was formerly eastern Ukraine. And now that Russia controls it fully and has established a government, saying we're done. Like, we're done. You've lost. Now what? Like, is it going to be one of those? It's like the guy holding his hand on a person's head, and the person's like swinging underneath his, and you're like holding them back, and he's like, "No, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you." And you're like, "Are you really? Now. Just stop now.
Yeah.
Please just stop now, because it's now just beyond embarrassing."
I have a hypothesis, and I think what it is Zelensky had the Epstein list, and the CIA sent Sean Penn in to befriend him and get that list back, and he succeeded, and now he has no more leverage. So
okay,
and he didn't have any photocopies.
That's my hypothesis.
Yeah, he didn't have any photocopies either. He's like, here's the book.
The original.
Here's the original. You don't have any copies of this?
Treasure.
Any digital copies? No, I have nothing else. Thank you, Sean Penn.
Right.
Here's your Oscar.
Well, thankfully, The Guardian reported that the United States did not show any indication in taking Ukraine up on that offer to attack other people we don't like. That's sort of a mobster move. Like, anyone you want me to hurt for you to get in your good graces, then I get those weapons. That does not seem to be something that the West is wanting to ordain. They seem to, they seem to be able to they can multitask their wars,
right.
The West, at least. So what now for Zelensky? If he can't hitch his wagon to the war in Israel, will he be forced to consider peace, which he has actually instated a law to forbid peace talks with Russia in Ukraine, but he can write a new law that says now that's okay. Will he be thrown under the bus as the West tries to get rid of him? Or will he start to look annoying to the media that loved him so much now that his war is so last season, like shoes or coats? Or maybe he could just take a page out of my favorite Twitter feed, Justin Trudeau's ego. This is parody, you guys, but Justin Trudeau did, in fact, take the weekend up. Update, I'm taking my 4th personal day in a row. My popularity is plummeting, so the best thing for me to do right now is lay low. Hopefully Canadians will be so distracted with issues in the Middle East, they'll forget about the damage I've done to Canada. Again, this is parody, you guys, but good suggestion. Yeah, this is the best. Justin Trudeau's ego.
I'm sure he'll find a way to screw that up. I'm sure he would find a way to even screw up like vacation days.
Yeah, I did actually look at his schedule over the last couple of days. He is, today his schedule is like briefing so-and-so about, the war in Israel, but he did take the weekend off his personal days. Those are kind of funny, silly questions. What will Zelensky do without this popularity and this vogue? But a serious question here, though, is then, can Ukrainians stop dying for this now? Please. Can they stop dying? Like, if Zelensky is no longer this popular person who can draw in Western support, can we at least admit that the dying can stop now? Let us know what you think of this in the chat. And if you liked my friend's joke.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.